My name is Mr.Kovahled. Let's go on an adventure. Wow, isn't she beautiful? She brings a tear to my eye. No, I didn't see her there. Well, right now, I'm just experiencing this beautiful thing we call nature, right? Now, human beings need things to survive. You see, we interact with nature in some way, on some level. Now, I'm not just talking about how beautiful this is. You hear that? Silence. It's priceless, right? Now, the interaction I'm talking about is what we need to survive, or how we survive and treat the environment around us. Now, typically, when I'm talking about that, what I mean is we need water, right? We also need food. And the last thing we need, which I don't have in my backpack, is shelter. Now, those three things plus oxygen are all four things that we actually take from the environment in one form or another. Just looking where I am now, I can quite easily tell how human beings have interacted with the environment around them. There over there, off on the horizon, is the city of Edmonton, and that's the downtown core. Now, that downtown core wasn't always there. In fact, most of this tree landscape probably spread onto it and probably replaced that. But now what ended up happening was that human beings came into the land and slowly, little by little, started replacing it, so that instead of all this beautiful, lush greenery, we now have a city landscape. Now, is that a bad thing? No. The reason why we as human beings take that land and make homes out of it is because there's more of us now. We need more land usage so that we can survive. With more people means more land being used. With more people also, there's more water and more food required. Now, there can be some negative consequences that come out of human beings using the environment, and I think you might know them very well. Now, one of the major negative impacts that human beings have on the environment is pollution. We have three forms of pollution. There's land pollution, water pollution, and air pollution. Land pollution, as many of you probably already know, is when we do some sort of a littering or bringing about lots of waste onto the land itself. That can displace organisms and animals, but it can also endanger them by having them maybe eat it, ingest it, and it ruin their own bodies. The other form of pollution, water pollution, is very similar to land pollution, except that instead of bringing that waste and littering onto the land, we're bringing it into the water. So affecting the organisms and the ecosystems in the water, the oceans, the rivers. But that can also happen from our building materials, kind of getting washed away and bringing it to there, or human waste, bringing it in and affecting our rivers. The third is air pollution. Now, air pollution, for the most part, it comes from human beings driving our vehicles, right? Burning off our gas, burning off our fossil fuels, but also factories. There's a whole plume of air pollution rising up and affecting our air quality for human beings and for other living organisms. But it also thickens our atmosphere, which is dangerous because of global warming. Now, the pollution that we get from our factories and our cars, that can rise up, and with added pollution up in the air, it actually makes our atmosphere around the Earth thicker, meaning that beautiful sunlight that reaches the Earth, it gets trapped in here. That's what gives us global warming. Global warming is when the Earth starts increasing in temperature, not because of natural occurrences, but because of, well, our human interaction with the environment. That's not a good thing, is it? You think about the Earth warming up. I like to think about an oven. I like to think of Mummy Dave Kovahled baking a nice lasagna in the oven. And, well, maybe it's me who wants to take a peek every now and then, opening up that door, but then the heat escapes. And it doesn't get quite cooked as well, which isn't a good thing. But then for the Earth, if we leave that door closed the whole time, it tends to keep that heat in there and warm things up a lot faster. We need to be able to reduce the thickness of that atmosphere so it doesn't get so quite warm in here. Another form of human interaction in our environment is land use. Now, there's positive aspects of this. Human beings need to farm for our survival. We need crops, we need livestock for our human consumption. But with more humans on the planet, it means that more land is required to grow these crops, to use that land for livestock. But it also means more land use for homes. And so all of this beautiful nature here, it gets removed for those homes. Let me show you how else we interact with the environment. In an effort to curb the number of trees being pulled down by beavers, we can see that human beings have put this mesh netting so that the teeth can't actually take away at the trunk of the tree, which does impact how those organisms survive. We can also notice that, these logs didn't just happen naturally. That clean cut, that smooth finish that you see there, that only happens because of humans cutting things down. And in terms of that land being used for homes, well, just beyond the ridgeline, you can see that we have a neighborhood beyond the river valley. The third example of human interaction with the environment comes with fishing and hunting. Now, fishing and hunting, perfectly fine if you're doing it for food or for, its actual resources to use its body for things. However, if we're doing it for sport, then it becomes an issue. Overhunting has become something where people are doing it for trophies for the sake of, I killed a lion. A lion? A lion, really? Do we need to be doing that? I don't think so. Now, overfishing can be problematic in that with human beings using massive nets with our technology now to pull in a ton of fish, we're picking up a lot of things that we just don't want to eat. And we're not able to pick them up and throw them back into the ocean as quickly as maybe we need to. Now, there's a few things that we could do. Not only stop overfishing and overhunting, but combat our negative impacts on the environment as well. There are things that we can do to help protect our environment. That can be from picking up garbage and recycling, to starting up community gardens and helping one another. Just the same, instead of taking the car, we can bike and walk, or possibly even carpool to where we need to be. And there's always sustainable energy that's out there for us, not just talking about it, but actually using it, using that solar power, wind power, hydropower. There are things that we can do to make an impact. You might be asking, Mr. Danger Dev Kovahled, why is it that we need to care about our human interaction with the environment? Well, do you see that duck over there? It's right there. And all these other organisms in this environment, they become impacted by our actions, our human actions. It affects what's called biodiversity. Now, biodiversity, its root comes from that idea of diversity, things that are different, a variety of different beings. And biodiversity is very important for every living organism's survival. You see, if there weren't plants or insects in that water for that duck wouldn't be able to consume food, which means that it would die. And then the organism that relies on the duck for food, they would die, and so on and so forth. Basically, if we don't have a variety of different organisms in our ecosystems, it impacts all of us. And this includes humans as well. Imagine, you're trying to go to McDonald's, you're trying to order, a little cheeseburger, and there's no beef. Now, it's not because they're trying to go, vegan or no meat. It's just because cows have gone extinct. But it's not just beef that's going to affect. It's also going to be affecting where we get our milk from now. And those peoples all around the world that truly rely on that animal for survival, they're going to struggle. So when we're talking about biodiversity, we're talking about the survival of all species in an ecosystem. And so when we take care of our environment, it's not just taking care of ourselves, it's making sure we can take care of them as well.